Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quinterverse. My name is Quinn, and we are back. We are back with more Nintendo Direct reviewing. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I did a Mario 40th Anniversary announcements review, and I did that first because at first I was going to make a combined Nintendo Direct full review, but I thought I don't want the video to be too long, so I decided to split them. I just did a review on all the announcements for the 40th Anniversary celebration. And now I'm doing a separate video on the general Nintendo Direct news. You know what I mean? So if you guys are interested in hearing about all my Mario Anniversary Celebration reviews, you can go to that video and I'll link it in the description below. But right now, today, we're actually going to be talking about the more general Nintendo Direct review. Just announcements for that too. You know, like we have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We have Pokémon Pokopia. We have Donkey Kong Bananza DLC announcements. We have Pokemon Legends EA and their DLC announcement that I'm going to get into. Plus, we just have Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. So I'm going to get into those. I'm going to make sure I give you guys the best review I can. And just want to make sure I give my honest review. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a long review, but I want to get into this just to kind of voice my thoughts on what I think about the Direct announcements as a whole. Now, I won't be going over everything in the general Direct. I know there was some indie announcements, some remake announcements, some ports coming to the Switch and stuff like that. I don't want to get into those per se. I just want to get into more of the Nintendo-based announcements. But I do appreciate if you guys can leave me a comment on what you guys think about the announcements that you think. Even if I don't talk about some of the games that you guys want to talk about, I would appreciate if you leave a comment just voicing what was your favorite announcement from the Direct. You know what I mean? So we're going to get started, but before then, I encourage each and every one of you to hit that like button. It greatly helps out the channel. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for notifications so you guys will know either when I'm uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media. That's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram for so much announcements, content, updates, and so much more. Okay, guys, we're going to get into it right now. So I want to start off this video with a bang by talking about the game that everybody has been waiting for years. 4 years since it was first announced. I want to get into Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, you know. So, for those of you who don't know, the game has gotten a little bit more news. The big news is that we finally got a firm release date. It's going to be releasing this December 4th, right here, the holiday season. That's going to be a great holiday game to pick up. And the trailers that they showed a lot more content that's going to be used. So, the trailer showed Samus getting on a speeder bike, basically. Like, she's getting on a speeder bike and riding throughout a desert wasteland, and we see more combat from this trailer. We see more combat, just more exploration, and so much more. You know, there is a lot of content that is going into this game, which is pretty good. I'm glad we're actually getting more announcements about this, and I'm glad we got a definitive release date. That is what everyone wanted. Now everyone knows to go buy this game on December 4th. And there's just so much about this game that everyone's excited for, you know. And it's been a while since people actually played a Metroid Prime game. And even me. Like, I think the last Metroid Prime game I played was Metroid Prime 1. This was back in the day when I was playing with my cousin. But, like, I have not played a Metroid Prime game since. And I know I probably should be playing 2 or 3. But you know what? I'm skipping straight to 4. You know what I mean? I'm skipping straight to 4 because I love the combat that we saw. I love the new upgrades. Just Samus getting all kinds of new sequences. Just so much about it. And there's so much gameplay that makes this game so fun to look at. So fun to play, I'm sure. You know? So I actually can't wait to see this game. I can't wait to play this game and see what all the new stuff they're putting in this compared to the last Metroid Primes. I did my research on the previous Metroid Prime, so I'm going to just try my best to play it as much as I can. You know, this is a big game that's coming out. I'm sure a lot of people are excited for this. I may not be the biggest Metroid player, but I definitely am excited for this game because this is a game that everyone has been hoping for a very long time. And now that we're finally getting it, not only on the Nintendo Switch regular, but the Nintendo Switch 2, people are very excited about this, you know. And there's so much to get into. There's so much to actually look into when it comes to this, and I'm glad they actually made this announcement because this is big news, you know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think about this game. There's so much that's going on about this, and I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts about this as well, you know? So what I want to talk about is I want to move on to the DLC expansions. Now, the first I want to talk about is Donkey Kong Bananza, the DLC announcements of DK Island and Ember Rush. Now, so the entire DLC released immediately on the same day as the Direct, and I haven't gotten the DLC yet, but I have seen what other YouTubers are saying about this. I have seen gameplay of this, It basically puts yourself on DK Island, It adds a new island hub, it adds just a new mode like Emerald Rush, so it adds some Emerald Crystal collectibles and some new mini games. So that's something to look at, That's something definitely to look at. And I think there's also something called the Banana Horde Challenge Mode, which is something to also look at too. So they have a couple things about this DLC, but the one critique that people have about this DLC specifically is that it costs $20 additional. Now for those of you who watched my Mario 40th anniversary review, I went in on the prices a lot and just kind of why Nintendo is just let's face it, Nintendo's going off the deep end with a lot of these prices, and I want to talk about them just step by step. So what I want to talk about the prices is simple. So $20 may not seem all that much money, but I'm a guy who's quality over quantity. I prefer quality over quantity, you know what I mean? So the one thing I see about this game is that I feel like they are charging $20 for this DLC when there's not really much to do. Like, I've heard a lot of things about this DLC that just people are complaining about, and I'm just kind of wondering, is it really worth $20, I mean, yeah, we get to explore DK's Island, which is great. I feel like DK's Island should have been put in the game from the very start, but I'm glad we're getting it because the game needs more DK elements, and I'm glad we're getting a new mode. But one thing I'm just a little skeptical about is that I heard from a lot of YouTubers that the game doesn't really have that much to go off of. It's like bare bones, Meaning that, for example, you can't get any Bananium gems or gold or anything like that. You're just collecting crystals. You can't really explore all that much, because one thing about DK Bananza that I do know is that the game is all about exploring. You don't even have to continue on the main game. You can just simply destroy, hit, go underground, seek so many collectibles. You can do that for hours, Sometimes you just want to sit on a game and just simply smash everything in your way. You don't want to advance or you want to do nothing. You just want to smash everything in your way. I've been like that too. I've been like that on my stream where I just want to take like 10 minutes or so just to smash everything around so I can get as much as I can. Because you never know when you find a chest. You never know when you find a fossil. You never know when you find gold. And you never know when you find a Bananium gem. So it just is a little disappointing to hear that apparently there's not much content when it comes to the island itself. Like, people were hoping for a couple more levels or maybe a story expansion, but we don't get that. Apparently the story of the DLC is that you're working for Void Co. So you're working basically for the antagonist of the game and stuff like that. So you're working for Void Co. and your job is to collect emerald pieces. So collecting emerald crystals sounds good, and I'm sure that's a great mode to try out, but I feel like if the game really, if the DLC really is bare bones, I'm wondering why Nintendo didn't add more to this. Like, I felt like they could have did maybe a small story expansion of some sort, or maybe they could have just added more levels to explore or something like that. It just seems like this was a perfect opportunity to do this, but they just didn't cash in on this. Now, I'm just stating my honest opinion. If you guys like the DLC, more power to you. If you guys find it absolutely enjoyable and worth the $20, guess what? More power to you. But I'm just stating my mind here because, like, I feel like Nintendo is not all about giving people enough content for what they're paying for. It just seems like they're gonna drop all these expensive stuff and expect you guys to pay for less when you should be paying for exactly what you pay for. I mean, it's what I said in my last video about Mario Kart. Like, I feel like Mario Kart overall is not worth $80. It's still a good game to me, but the game as a whole just doesn't have enough content to justify the $80 price tag. It just doesn't have the content that people were looking for. It's not really exactly what people were looking for. It's just too bare bones. And I feel like this is the same issue because, like, with DK Island, I do plan on getting the DLC eventually, but if it really is true that people believe it's bare bones, then I feel like Nintendo could have done more with this, which I won't know until I actually get into the DLC myself, but this is what I've been hearing, this is what I've been getting in other reviews and stuff, and I'm just kind of wondering is the DLC really worth it if they're really doing an expansion, you know? Because, like, the game as a whole, Donkey Kong Bonanza is such a fantastic game, and the fact that it got DLC is fantastic in itself. But I just felt like Nintendo needs to kind of capitalize on this instead of kind of just dropping less and expecting us to pay a heck of a lot of money when they're actually expecting us to pay a heck of a lot of money for other stuff as well, you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, Donkey Kong Bonanza costs $70, and if you pay for the DLC, that's $90 as a whole. The game itself is worth $70, but if the DLC is not worth the $20 it's paid for, I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? I just feel like we need to do more. You know what I mean? And we hopefully we do get more content about this, because like this just seems a little strange. You know what I mean? Going off of a great game and just kind of releasing kind of bare bones. And I'm sure the level is beautiful. I'm sure it looks great. It looked great from the Nintendo Direct they showed us, but my point is, I expected more content. You know, I expected hopefully more, especially when they want us to pay a lot more money. You know, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below about this, and for those of you who actually did play the DLC, let me know what you guys think down below, and I greatly appreciate it. You know, I'm definitely gonna eventually buy it, but I want to beat the game first. You know, and see where I go from there. You know. So speaking of DLC and expansions, I want to get into news about Pokemon Legends ZA. So what I want to talk about this is, we received news already about that where Pokemon Legends ZA is getting more new Mega Evolutions. So one thing I am excited for is we're getting not one, not two, but 3 new Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions to me that should have been in X and Y, but I'm glad we're getting them now. So for those of you who don't know, we're getting a Mega Delphox, we're getting a Mega Chestnut, and we're getting a Mega Greninja. So the starters from Pokemon X and Y are finally getting Mega Evolutions, and that is great. It's great because I feel like these Pokemon specifically should have been the first and foremost to get Mega Evolutions, because they're actually from the Kalos region. They're actually from the Kalos region because they specialize in Mega Evolution. And it's just crazy how the Kanto starters got Mega Evolutions, but the Kalos starters did not. So it's great to see them, and they look all great. You know, especially for people who actually want to play them again. You know, it gives the X and Y Pokemon justice, because I do know that they haven't gotten enough love as a whole. They're not really anyone's favorite. They're not really everyone's favorite starter as a whole. You know, so I'm glad they're actually getting some love. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Pokemon Legends ZA is actually getting some new DLC. They're actually getting some new DLC announced, and okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wondering, not that this trailer the trailer looks great as a whole, but one thing I'm wondering is, why is Legends ZA getting DLC before the full game even comes out? That's my biggest question so far, because I'm not trying to complain, but like, it just kind of find it a little weird that we haven't even gotten the full game of Legends. Like, the full game of Pokemon Legends comes out literally a month later, and now we're already getting DLC called Mega Dimensions, and we saw basically new Mega Evolutions. I believe we saw a Raichu X and a Raichu Y of some sort, so it's like they're bringing back the X and Y thing, and they're introducing new Mega Evolution zones. Apparently Rayquaza has been teased with legendary encounters. I'm not sure if that's true. You have to check me on that. It seems like this is going to be a new post-game expansion to the game itself. But I'm like, there's so much about the game itself. There's so much about the full base game I want to learn about. We got new Mega Evolutions. We got new just areas that we can explore, new mechanics and such. But there's just so much about Pokemon Legends ZA I still want to know. You know, the game to me overall looks great. And I love Pokemon Legend games. I love Legends Arceus. You know, I did a full live stream Let's Play of Pokemon Legends Arceus right on this channel. So you guys know how much I love it. I loved every minute of that game. And I'm hoping that this game lives up to the hype. And I'm especially glad that they're bringing back Mega Evolutions, because that's my favorite gimmick out of all the other gimmick. And that includes Z-Moves, Dynamax, Gigantamax, etc. Even Terrestrialization. There we go. It's Terrestrialization. That's what I meant. I'm sorry, I drew a blank, but it's Terrestrialization. Out of all those gimmicks, Mega Evolution is my favorite. So I'm glad we're getting it back, but there's just so much about the base game I just want to learn more about. So I'm hoping we get more news about that. It just to me is a little bit strange how we're getting a Mega Dimension DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA when no one has even played the base game yet. People have played demos when they have been invited to play the demo, but no one has actually beaten the actual base game yet. So it's hard to even tell why are they even releasing the DLCs this early, you know? It just seems a little bit strange to me, but I'm still excited about the game. I'm still excited about what's to come about it. It releases on October 16th, the base game, so I'm hoping to actually get more about this, you know what I mean? And it seems like the DLC is going to drop immediately right when the game comes out. So I wonder if the game actually comes out. Well, the game comes out October, so never mind all that. Yeah, the game comes out October. I'll correct myself if that's the case, but the Legends ZA overall looks great. Let me know what you guys think down below. The DLC, we don't know much about DLC, but apparently we're getting lots more Mega Evolutions, which is great. But I'm hoping to see if the base game lives up to the hype for the DLC to continue, you know what I mean? So let me know what you guys think down below, and we're going to find out soon enough. So I wanted to talk about this because this kind of got me scratching my head during the Direct. So Nintendo is adding a new classic to their Nintendo Switch Online Classic Collection, you know? And I was a little shocked when I actually saw this. They're adding the Virtual Boy. You heard me. The Virtual Boy. Now, I was a little surprised that they're adding this just because, like, wasn't the Virtual Boy kind of a flopped console? Like, it was a failed console, you know? It just seems like... It just seems like Nintendo. I don't know why Nintendo was adding this. I mean, I'm not. I guess it makes sense that they're adding this because they're trying to add collections, even if it wasn't popular. But at the same time, it just seems a little surprising that they would add the Virtual Boy, you know. And what got me scratching my head even more about the Virtual Boy is what came after. So they're selling a Virtual Boy replica accessory, a full model of the Virtual Boy. They're selling that for $100. They're selling be mind you, to play these Virtual Boy games, you need a special accessory. And Nintendo came out with two versions of it. The first version is what I just said, the replica version where you can buy the full plastic model for about $100. And the second version is the cardboard model, which for those of you who remember Nintendo Labo, it's basically an affordable option so you can actually play the Virtual Boy games. So you're basically paying $25 for cardboard, you know? So either you can get the replica version for a full $100 or you can get the cardboard version for $25, which the cardboard version is more affordable. I get that, but like, I just kind of find it funny that now we have to buy an accessory just to play a specific collection. We have to play the Virtual Boy game. We have to either buy the full accessory or we have to buy the cardboard model, and that's the only way to play the whole thing. You know what I mean? I know the Virtual Boy cost like about $200 back in the day, from what I researched, but like, my gosh, it seems like Nintendo is really charging a lot just for this specific item. Like, mind you, they're releasing 14 Virtual Boy titles that aren't even going to be released all at once. They're going to be released gradually, which means they're going to be released months and months and months apart, which you know how Nintendo takes their sweet time doing that, you know what I mean? You get Mario Tennis, you get Galactic Pinball, you know, you get that boxer game, what was it? Teleroboxer or something? Teleroboboxer, I think it's called, or something like that. I know you get Virtual Boy, Wario Land, and so many other games, and it's for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, but you need the accessories to play them. It just seems like Nintendo is asking us a lot to buy the accessory just to play this one mode, especially when they're going to release the games gradually. Like, you can't even play all at once, so it's like Nintendo's asking us to invest in this specific accessory if we want to play the Virtual Boy titles. Listen, I'm all for more classic games returning to the Switch or coming to the Switch and the Switch 2. It's great because people who didn't get to enjoy the classics can. But it just seems like Nintendo's charging an arm and a leg nowadays just to play stuff like that, especially for a console that didn't even sell well in the first place. Like, no disrespect to people who like the Virtual Boy, but the console didn't sell that well in the first place. And they're releasing the full replica for $100 or the cardboard version at least for $25 just to even play the entire mode. And it's like, but it just seems like Nintendo's charging an arm and a leg nowadays just to play stuff like that, especially for a console that didn't even sell well in the first place. Like, no disrespect to people who like the Virtual Boy, but the console didn't sell that well in the first place. And they're releasing the full replica for $100 or the cardboard version at least for $25 just to even play the entire mode. And it's like, if they're going to release it gradually, how are you going to get your money's worth right away? And I get it. Listen, I'm a guy who bought a season pass for some of my favorite wrestling games, like WWE 2K25. I bought a season pass, and some of the DLC comes out gradually, like they come out months apart. I get it. Sometimes like that happens, but at least I'm getting my money's worth. When I buy WWE 2K25, at least I'm getting my money's worth because a lot of what's already in the pack is already unlocked, so I get to enjoy a good amount of content that's already in the pack that I bought, and I get to wait for the small additional content that's going to be coming later. But it seems like if you want to play this entire collection of Virtual Boy games, you have to buy these accessories, and you can't even play all the games at once. You gotta like wait. You gotta wait, which is it just seems like a lot to ask for. But what do you guys think? I mean, I'm not totally against this, but it just seems like this is really, really weird. I mean, and I want to know what you guys think down below of the Virtual Boy coming back. What are your thoughts on the prices? What are your thoughts on the games? And so much more. You know what I mean? Okay, so I want to go back to Pokemon for a bit just to talk about another title that's being released for the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusively. Now, this title, when I first saw this title, I didn't know what to expect. You know, we had a video basically of a Pokeball coming out of nowhere, and when the Pokeball opened, it was a Ditto. It was basically a Ditto, and the Ditto basically turned into a legit human model character, or somewhat of a human model. So, one thing about this game is, my first initial thoughts, and this was my wife's initial thoughts as well during the reaction, we thought this game was very reminiscent of Animal Crossing, you know what I mean? It basically is about a Ditto that teams up with Pokemon to do farming, crafting, and just building building a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? It also has a lot of Minecraft-esque elements to it, you know, so that's another good thing, and it's called Pokemon Pokopia, you know what I mean? So, this has a lot of customizations and Pokemon befriending mechanics as well. Like, it had a lot of customizations, survival mechanics, stuff like that, farming mechanics, and it's basically a cozy Pokemon game that people can enjoy. Now, it doesn't look bad, you know? My first complaint about the game was, I'm wondering, do they have an Animal Crossing game coming out? Listen, I have nothing against Pokemon Pokopia. But my first initial thought was, what are they doing with Animal Crossing? I know this probably isn't the same team that developed Animal Crossing. I don't know that for certain. But at the same time, this looks like they had a hand in that. You know what I mean? The game looks good overall. It looks like a very chill Pokemon game, which looks very good. My wife excited to play it. She's very excited to play it because it looks so good. And I'm excited too. You know what I mean? But I definitely want to learn more about the game just because, like, they haven't made a Pokemon Chill game in a while, and it seems like they're trying to bring back side Pokemon games instead of, like, the main story game where you just simply catch Pokemons, battle them, go on adventures, stuff like that. It seems like they're trying to bring more of the Pokemon side games or the cozy games back, you know what I mean? So, it looks good. From what I can tell, it looks good. I actually can't wait to play it because it does look like a fun adventure that you can go on. And I actually want to see more about this. And we didn't get much revealed about this, but I know it's releasing in 2026. So it's going to be an interesting one, you know what I mean? It's going to be an interesting game to look at. As a fan of Animal Crossing, I do want to see the cozy elements that this game is about. I also do want to see some Minecraft elements too, because there's some elements about the game that actually looks like Minecraft had an inspiration to it. So I'm very excited for it. What do you guys think? You know, it's a pretty cool game. It's a little weird that Ditto, who's also a Pokemon, basically disguises itself as a human, and you play as Ditto the entire time, but maybe there's a cool mechanics that can come out. So, because since you're a Pokemon, you can actually use Pokemon abilities. Like you see in the trailer, the Ditto character, it learned leafage, which can actually grow plants, which is pretty cool. So hopefully we see more of that going down the line, and maybe see more gameplay as that as well. So let me know what you guys think. You know, do you like the idea of the game? Do you not like it? Let me know down below. You know. The next game I want to give a brief shout out to is Tomodachi Life: Living a Dream. You know, the game does look really good. You know, we got a little bit more news about Tomodachi Life, and I am planning on getting the game. I very much am planning on getting the game because I know I have family members and friends who actually went crazy over Tomodachi Life for the 3DS, and they said it was really good. So I actually really want to try this out. It does look great. It's like it's a great life sim, and it seems like it adds more customization, like fashion, relationships, voices, that was seen in the previous game. I mean, you get to go to community festivals, you get to just create me's again, which is pretty good, and you can just go to you can just do some real life elements, like go into stores, go into buildings, you know, get makeovers, stuff like that. It seems really cool. You know, and that's kind of all I have to say about the game. Not much, but I do like the look of the game, and it does look like it's going to have a lot of funny elements to it. It has a lot of funny elements that are going to make it a great cozy game as well. So I can't wait to play that life sim, and hopefully you guys will have a lot to say about that as well. Let me know what you guys think about that too. It looks good. I really don't have any complaints about it. It does look pretty nice, because I remember when this first was released, I thought this was Animal Crossing, for instance, and a lot of people thought this was Animal Crossing, so I wasn't disappointed when this wasn't Animal Crossing, but I am interested to see what Tomodachi Life is all about. So let me know what you guys think down below, and can't wait for the game to come out. So the last game I want to dig into when it comes to the Nintendo Direct is actually the last game that was announced for the Nintendo Direct, called Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. You know, so I want to let you guys know, first and foremost, I'm not the biggest Fire Emblem fan. Now, I don't dislike the game. I actually really admire the game because I do love RPG games, but I've never really gone into a Fire Emblem game before. You know what I mean? So it's going to be hard for me to review this, but from what the trailer saw, it looked pretty good. You know what I mean? Now, it's releasing in 2026. You know, there's no exact date release yet, but it is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game. Now, when I first saw this in the Direct, my instinct was this wasn't really a game that needed to be announced last. Like, I just didn't think it was that big of a game to be announced last, but I'm sure a lot of Fire Emblem fans would disagree strongly with this, you know? But one thing I do like about it from what we saw in the gameplay is that it looks like it plays like other Fire Emblem games, like turn-based tactical RPG games, you know what I mean, with grid-based battles, which which here's the thing, I have played games that also does grid-based battles, so I do know of that somewhat, you know what I mean? And it does look pretty nice. And I do know a lot of people actually who are very into Fire Emblem, so it looks pretty well from what the entire Direct shown. So I actually really like it. You know, it seems like it's branching into something called the Weaving Fate system, where the battle can change based on the character's choices. So I do like that type of interactivity or something like that. I'm slurring my words a little bit. I do like that kind of new elements, you know what I mean, where you can actually control multiple characters and just apparently their destinies intertwine with each other based on the player's actions, which is pretty nice. You know what I mean? It looks like a great game. It looks like something to dig into. Now, I actually said in my stream that I do want to start getting into Fire Emblem. I do want to know what all the hype is about, you know what I mean? Now, I don't know if I should start with this game or if I should start with another game, but I'm actually wondering what the hype is about. So I'm actually hoping I can find out more about this game. I don't know if I'm going to get it for certain, but I would love to try this just because it looks great. The story looks great, you know what I mean? The new elements look great. It seems like every character have their own motive. They have their own, they have their own motives, their backstories, you know, and the characters that was introduced is just apparently driven to save his own father, which is pretty nice. It has a special story element that I really like. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to getting that. I'm looking forward to trying that game if I do. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that you guys are as well. It does look very good. And I'm hoping that the game lives up to the hype. I'm really hoping the game lives up to the hype because it seems like they're going to be centered around, I don't know, I believe 3 heroes or so. So with the story that they're telling, I'm hoping that they actually exceed all expectations. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys are big Fire Emblem fans, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions as well, just to get myself a good idea of what to expect. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, so that was basically everything from the general Nintendo Direct. Now, like I said, if you guys wanted my review on Mario's 40th Anniversary Showcase, it's in another video, so I will link it down below, and you guys could go check out that video. I just separated them just to save on time, just to make the video easier to watch. You know, and personally, there is a lot of games to look forward to. You know, Metroid Prime 4 is, of course, the most hyped game of them all because now we got a final release date. We got it coming out in December 4th this year, so it's going to be a big holiday game to get into. You know, a lot of Fire Emblem fans are right now eating good with Fortune's Weave now coming out, so that's pretty good. And we got a lot more elements to go for, you know, and there's still a lot of questionable things about the Direct too. There's questionable things like the DLCs that's coming out. There's questionable things about the Virtual Boy. And there's a lot more than that. But we have some great games coming out. Like, you know, we have Tomodachi Life coming out, which is always a pretty good thing. I like it. I'm sure you guys like it as well. And Pokopia is coming out, which is also a pretty good game. So I'd love to hear about that as well. Like I said, I'm not going to review everything about this general Nintendo Direct because I know we got a lot of ports, we got a lot of indie game showcases going on. I'm not going to go over everything, but I would like to give a brief, you know, shout out to some of them. Like, I like to give a shout out that Resident Evil 9 is coming to the Switch 2, which is pretty good. Now, I'm not going to be playing it for the Switch 2. I most likely will probably be playing it for the PC or PlayStation 5, but it's cool that, I guess, Nintendo players get the chance to play this game as well. You know what I mean? We also have a new Dragon Quest that's coming out, which, listen, I don't play Dragon Quest that much, but I think someone told me this. So someone told me apparently Akira Toriyama does the artwork for Dragon Quest, and I love Akira Toriyama. You know, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, so I know Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest are 2 different things, but like the art style is just something to go over, you know. And if this is similar art style to Akira Toriyama's art style, then that hooks me on the game already. So I actually might check that out, you know. I actually asked some viewers on my React stream what game should I start out with if I'm doing Dragon Quest or something like that, because I'm trying to get in on some of the games, you know what I mean? So those are a couple of shout outs. You know, there's a lot of games. There's also games like Hades 2 coming out. There's also Fatal Frame 2 remake that's coming out very soon. There's so much that's coming out for the Switch 2, but I'll admit, I was hoping for a little bit more. I was hoping for just a teeny tiny bit more with the Direct. It wasn't, to me, the best Direct. It was a 6 out of 10 at best. It was a 6 out of 10 at best. I said the exact same thing on my React stream. It was a 6 out of 10. And I stand by that. Wasn't the best Direct. It seems like they are shelling out very little and expecting us to pay very more. But hopefully we actually get some big news coming out, and I'll be here to review them and do my best to cover them all the same. Whew. Alright, that wraps it up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Greatly helps out the channel. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for all notifications so you guys will know either when uploading or streaming. Follow me on social media. That's Twitter, aka X, and Instagram for so much updates, content, and so much more that will be announced on my social media. You know what I mean? I did announce this on my previous video that I am transitioning more to reviews, reactions, retrospectives, and so much other videos. Now, I will still be doing Let's Plays, but I'm going to be doing more Let's Plays for live streams than the videos because I'm trying to actually make more videos like this because I do like giving my honest opinion, talking about the games, and I will continue to be doing Let's Plays, so don't worry, you're still going to be seeing me fail at games, but I might do more live streams on that. But I'm going to be doing more videos on this to try it out because I actually do want to see how I do when it comes to future reviews like this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys. God bless, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, guys.